Hey, good afternoon, everybody. It's Scott from the Rookie Wine and Whiskey Enthusiast. It is March, and it means we have Irish whiskeys to enjoy. I'm going to be reviewing two this week, and we are going to start off with a whiskey that I believe should be in everybody's, and I mean everybody's cabinet, especially if you drink Irish whiskey. It is Redbreast 12-year Cask Strength. All right, everybody. As I said, it is Irish Week this week. Yeah, you have St. Patrick's Day next weekend, and we are going to be reviewing the Redbreast 12 Cask Strength today. Of course, I had to get my Irish yoga instructor, master yoga instructor t-shirt on from Nine Line Apparel. You cannot drink Irish whiskey without pretending to be Irish. Now, I do have Irish in my blood, so I feel like I'm obligated to make fun of some of my heritage. But anyways, it's just a little fun. Let's get to the whiskey though. And I was serious when I said that this is a whiskey that everybody, and I mean everybody, should have in their liquor cabinet. Now, there is a Redbreast 12-year that's not cask strength. It is an amazing whiskey. And if you don't like cask strength whiskeys, or as a lot of you are rookies like me into the world of wine and whiskey, if you're not used to and accustomed to the cask strength, go ahead and buy the Redbreast 12. For me personally, the Redbreast 12 and the Redbreast 12 cask strength, the higher ABV has a more intense flavor, and that is why I like to go ahead and do it, which is why I've got the bottle of water today, is I am going to proof this down after my initial tasting. Now, what makes this whiskey so special? Middleton Distillery is the purveyors of Redbreast 12, and it is a single pot, which is standard, by the way. It is the Irish way of doing things. It's single pot Irish whiskey. It's minimum to be labeled Irish whiskey. It is made with both malted and unmalted barley. It has to be aged a minimum of 3 years in an oak barrel. Now, I do believe the Irish don't, unlike the Scottish, which has to be used oak, I don't believe the Irish make a distinction between new and used oak. It just has to be aged 3 years in an oak barrel. However, if you are a drinker of some of the more entry level Irish whiskeys, Jameson being probably the most famous, then you have Bushmills. It's time for you to get a bottle of the Redbreast 12. So let's go ahead. And it also, by the way, has one of the prettiest boxes for presentation. It's got a big, long explanation here. Let's go ahead. I'm just going to read this here. The robin redbreast is the only bird which sings continuously throughout the dark Irish winters, and is one of the very few small birds that choose to winter in Ireland. It is the enduring spirit which inspires the namesake Redbreast whiskey. So let's go ahead. I'm going to set that off to the side. Let's go ahead and nose this. Now, for me, right off the bat, now this is aged in sherry oak casks. And when you nose this, the intense flavor that comes across, it is fruits, an intense fruit flavor, dried fruits, plums, raisins for me. There is an oakiness to the nose. Now, you can't see this. I'm going to try to hide it up here. With the cask strength, the legs on this, it just clings to the glass. And as it drips down slowly. There's even sultana on the nose. But that oak and the dried fruit comes across amazing. This little bit right here, I could probably nose this for a good 30 minutes. Now, as Ralphie suggests, being it's 12 years, this is one that really, before you take a sip of it, really needs to sit for 12 minutes in the glass. You know, Ralphie says, for every year in the cask, let it sit 1 minute in the glass. This is one that it really helps with the aroma of this. So let's go ahead. Boy, that dried fruit It also has a slightly herbal spiciness to it on the nose. Let's go ahead and take a sip. Mm. On the palate, a rich, creamy, buttery type flavor washes over. The front part of the tasting, the front of the front and the mid parts, you get a little hints um, of the dried fruit, the plums, the raisins, uh, almost what's the phrase I'm looking for? An intense dried potpourri, even a little bit of lavender. Um, but then on the finish, and this is where Redbreast really takes a hold of you. Um, it has a very long finish where you have certain whiskeys, and Irish whiskeys, especially pot still whiskeys, a lot of them don't have, especially if they've been watered down, don't have that long finish. This is one of the longest finishes in whiskey that I have ever had. Matter of fact, I'm still tasting it. So, but on the back part of the finish, that is where the vanilla from the oak comes through from the barrel aging. Um, so you have on the layers, you have the fruits up front, situated in the middle, a little bit of spice in the middle. Um, I would say it's more along of an allspice type of situation. And then on the back end, it's that buttery, smooth, just absolutely wonderful feeling. This is a sipping whiskey. Let's go ahead though, and we are going to add a little bit of bottled water. I'm just going to add just a little bit, not even half, a capful of the water. Now, I do believe this is unchill filtered and no coloring added. Yep, non-chill filtered. It doesn't say anything about the coloring, but I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure that there's no coloring added. It's got a beautiful golden hue to it, and then when you add the water, there is that you see the water mixing with it. I guess they call it a Scotch mist in Scotland, but when you do that on the nose, a little bit of water in this really brings out the fruit aroma on this. I mean, it's an explosion. It's not as intense. It's just seems like there's more of it. But also, what I didn't get on the nose before, which was that butter cookie, unsalted butter type of nose, you do get that here, and the oak comes out a little bit more on the nose with an addition of the water. Wow, that is intense. Let's go ahead and take another sip though. Now, I did forget to mention, this is at 58.2%. That little bit of water right there, I probably knocked it down to about 50%, maybe a little bit more than 50%. But on the flavor, that buttery note that you get with the Irish that you got on the finish, it comes through the entire palate now. A little bit of water does this whiskey a lot of good. Um, and not only does it bring the buttery note forward, but also extends that fruit flavor back on your palate. So, anyways, if I were to rate this whiskey, like I said, I said this, everyone needs to have Redbreast 12 or Redbreast 12 Cask Strength in their cabinet. This is a solid, and I have no hesitation giving it a solid 93 out of 100. This is a top 3 whiskey for me. And this whiskey is also a very, very malleable whiskey. I told the Scotch Test Dummies this. in one of their videos when they reviewed this, and I told Vito over at Cask Strength this makes a great blending whiskey. Okay, so you want to explore Redbreast a little bit more. You have the Redbreast 12, then you have the Redbreast 12 Cask Strength, you have the Redbreast 15, you have the Redbreast 21. I believe there's a 25 yet. I haven't tried that one. And then you have the Redbreast Lustau edition. If you take, now all of those are either at 43 or 46%. If you take a little bit of Redbreast 12 Cask Strength and you add it to the Redbreast Lustau, the Redbreast 15 year, you're bringing up the ABV. So as an example, let's take the 15 year, which is the next one up from here. You pour yourself an ounce, take a half ounce of the Redbreast 12 Cask Strength and blend it in with the 15. It is an amazing experience. So much so that I've gone ahead and I've started experimenting, adding this to other Irishes. If I accidentally buy a bottle of an unimpressive, or what I consider an unimpressive or unfun bottle of single malt Scotch, I'll give you an example. And I may do this. If you guys want to see me do it, and I'll show you how I do it. I've got a bottle of Glenlivet 12 year that has been open several years. I only break it out when I have guests that want to try single malt Scotch. It's a very easy Scotch to start with. What I will do is I will take a half ounce of the Redbreast 12 Cask Strength and I'll add it to the Glenlivet 12 year. To not only bring up the ABV, but also to give it a little bit of a kick with regards to the flavor, since it's a sherry cask as well. So anyways, now I did want to do one more thing here, and this is a shout out to all of you that have lost children, that have coming up on St. Patrick's Day. St. Patrick's Day is not normally a holiday that I celebrate. Reason being is my oldest son would have been 26 this coming St. Patrick's Day. His name was Patrick, and he passed back in September 28th, 2012, 6 years ago. A little over 6 years ago. And I miss him every day. He should be here with me drinking a glass on his birthday of Redbreast 12 Cask Strength. So, but I still get to look forward to my other son, Nolan, who is my cameraman today, when he turns 21. Him and I will be breaking open a bottle of Irish whiskey. He was born in March as well, not on St. Patrick's Day, but we will be. I actually have a bottle downstairs that was distilled the year he was born, and we will be opening that up, as well as a bottle of Irish whiskey for his birthday when he turns 21. So, Nolan, that's 2 years from now. Anyways, Patrick, cheers to all you parents. You know what I'm talking about if you've lost a child. Raise your glass up for Patrick for me if you would. Just remember, and I'm serious about this, life is too short for either bad wine or bad whiskey. Cheers and salam. Stand good stuff. My intrepid cameraman once again pointed out that I've made a mistake. If you do like this video, please hit the thumbs up button on it. Go ahead and subscribe if you like my content, if you think it's valuable. And go ahead and hit the bell button when you do subscribe. That way when I do post new content, you'll be one of the first to know. So again, like, comment, subscribe, and also don't forget to share the video. If you are trying to convince somebody that to try Redbreast 12 or an Irish whiskey in general, share the video with them. Thanks. Cheers.